Hello guys, I'm happy to see you in my video, and today is the special video which I decided to make a long time ago. And this video is about how to pass the IELTS exam. And as you maybe are aware of, I took the IELTS exam twice, and the second time I've got band 7 overall, and for each section I've got 7, except for speaking, where I've got 7.5. So after I gave the interview about the IELTS, how I passed the IELTS exam to the English teacher Ryan, I realized that I didn't say everything I wanted to say. I didn't share all my experience in that interview as a whole, so I decided to make a video where I'll try to explain everything and just, to be as precise as possible, to just give you some tricks how to prepare yourself. And I decided to divide this video into parts. Firstly, I'll tell you how about speaking and listening, and then I'll move to writing and reading sections, because I think that they are a little bit similar between each other, so I decided to, the preparation for them are the same, so I decided to, put it together. So firstly, speaking about speaking and listening, my first advice is to listen to the radio. And as you're aware of, that IELTS is the British or Australian version of English exam, and so I recommend you to listen to the British or Australian radio channels. And as for me, personally, I decided to choose that radio which has only conversations without music, so it won't distract me from comprehending English. And I chose this channel. It's called LBC 97.3. It's a London radio, and they have only talks about everything in life. And moreover, I'll tell you that my favorite program on that radio is it's called Mystery Hour. And in that, it's as you can see, it goes only for an hour, and it's very interesting program, because there are people calling from around the, I mean mostly from London, but maybe from other parts of Great Britain as well, and they are asking interesting questions about unusual things in life. And it's kind of interesting, because you would never think about these questions yourself. Probably they might be about some scientific things, or it can be about everyday life. And like, for example, why some dogs have curly hair and why the other don't, or something like that. Do animals have accents? Such interesting things, which it would be really interesting to know. And moreover, what I like about this program and this radio overall, that it kind of, it just takes you and puts you outside of your comfort zone in English, let's say that. Because if you're used to speak English about everyday things, or your hobbies, activities, and behind this you don't know much, so this program would help you to develop this this vocabulary, expressions, and everything like that, So I recommend you to listen to this program, or if you don't like this topic, you can choose your own radio which you really like. It can be also a radio which has music and talk, but of course not only music, because I don't think music will help much. So just choose, and moreover it should be British, because you have to get used to the British accent, because on the IELTS exam you'll probably get the British accent examiner. Okay, the next my tip is to listen to podcasts. I really love podcasts myself. Even before I started to prepare for the IELTS, I was listening to one interesting podcast. It's called English Pod. It's an American podcast about how to develop your spoken English. And this podcast would really help you in speaking as well, because they not only are speaking with each other, they also teach you some interesting phrases. Of course, the only thing that it's American, so not all of the phrases can be applied for the British talk, but it doesn't matter, because mostly they can. And it's very interesting. They're discussing interesting topics, so I recommend English Pod. And it's very funny. You can just, you can enjoy listening to it, as well as the radio programs. Also, there is the other podcast. It's called Business English, and it's more like a serious podcast, but it's all about business, and it helps for IELTS as well. Many related topics. But the thing is that, for example, if you are into business, or you're working in that area, it would be also helpful for you, because they teach not only expressions and phrases, they actually kind of remind you if you forgot, or even for me it was many things were new. They are explaining some, business theories, and how to speak with your client, some techniques. It's very interesting podcast as well, very useful one. So I would recommend both podcasts for you. Okay, the next tip is watching movies. I think that many people enjoy movies, right? So you can watch your favorite movies, and not only movies, you can watch series, cartoons, and which would be really useful for IELTS is documentaries. Because in documentaries, again, they are going a little bit further than your comfort English speaking zone. So you can find out more interesting things and phrases, and it would be also helpful in writing, because for example, the tasks where you have to describe a process, or something like that, the documentary movies, they are really helpful for that, because you can hear how the voice describing something behind the scene. It's very useful as well. So I would really recommend you to listen to that and to watch. You can, for example, you can stop the movie and just try to repeat for the author, for the speaker. It would be really useful for your speaking, for your listening, and for your writing. So that's very good. And the fourth advice is using Skype. For example, if you live in the non-English speaking country, sometimes it's really hard to find in real life a native speaker who you can talk with a lot. So you can just go on Skype and add some people. You can go to the websites, for example, mylanguageexchange.com, and there are people, they are just putting their Skype accounts, and Skype names, so you can find them and they are saying what language they speak and what language they want to learn, and you can find suitable language and for you, and exchange your languages and teach each other. It's very interesting and very good. So, and also my advice is, when the exam date is close, you can ask your Skype friend to pretend that he is or she is the examiner, the IELTS examiner, and just give them the sample questions for the speaking part, and ask them to ask them you. So it would be really, really useful. You'll feel like you're in the actual exam, so you'll get comfortable in that situation. So I would recommend you to do that as well. Also, what I found really useful for the speaking part especially, it's the book, the special IELTS book, which is called IELTS, just IELTS Speaking. Yeah, IELTS Speaking, and it's written by Mc Carter2. This book is written for Chinese students. I just found that online. You can just, type the name, IELTS Speaking, Mc Carter2. And this is a really, really useful book, because this, as I get it, he is an English teacher and he lives in China, or I don't know, he wrote this book for mainly Chinese students, but it's in English as well. And it has, really good explanation how to get the score 7 or higher for the IELTS, and it's really great book. A lot of advices, a lot of vocabulary, useful vocabulary for each topic, and I really this book was the most helpful book from all of them, which I checked myself. So just read that book and you'll get 7. Okay, now let's move to the reading and writing parts. About these parts, we have to again look at the books, because for reading and writing there is no other ways to get the higher score. Is you have to really read the books. So first book which I recommend is called Action Plan for IELTS. It's a book for Cambridge exams. It's an interesting book. It explains many things about IELTS. It's just gives some tips, some techniques. So I found this book very useful. The next book is Focus on IELTS, written by Hugh O'Connell. This book is very famous among IELTS candidates, and I'm happy about that book. I read all of it, and I did all the exercises, and it was helpful, especially with reading, because what I like about this book, that reading parts, they are made as well as on the exam, from the simplest to the hardest, and you can just to increase your skills by doing all the reading parts one by one. And the next book is called IELTS Kaplan, and this book is very useful for writing as well, because it has some really good techniques and advises what to do, do's and don'ts. So very interesting. It's short to read and very useful to apply. So get to that book. Also not bad. The book is Improve Your Reading by Mc Carter2. It's a pretty old book, but it has only reading parts, so you can practice all of them, and learn new vocabulary, and learn new techniques, how to do the reading parts. Also the next book is, of course, all of them. Not all of them. I would recommend you, the book Sample IELTS tests from Cambridge for which are the real tests which were before. And what I recommend is to use the books from about 5th and to 8th, because they start from 1st, but they are really old. Like, I think the first one is already like 10 years old or something. And as we all know, the IELTS exam is changed every year, and the thing is, it's getting harder every year, a little bit harder. So just don't overuse the first book, and but pay more attention to the latest ones, because they are more similar to the real exams right now. And what I of course recommend about books, don't pay much attention to the exercises which are not related to the IELTS tasks. For example, if you see that it says like speaking part 3 or something like reading part 1, then you'd better do it. But if it says just put missing words, or like give I don't know, something not related to the IELTS, not the same IELTS tasks, I would recommend just don't waste your time. There are plenty of those exercises, and if you are focused on IELTS, it's better to do exactly the same exercises. So you'll just polish your skills one by one by doing them. Then you'll just waste your time to those unnecessary exercises. That's my advice. And also, which helps for reading, it's reading the articles on the internet. Just read some stories, articles, everything you like. The main thing is that you have to read what is really interesting for you. Don't just make yourself do something, because it would be not useful at all. So just try to focus on what you like, and then you'll get the best results from that. Also, my advice is to, if you have an iPod, iPad, or any smartphone, all of them on the Apple Store, or Android Market, or Play Store, how they are called, I forgot. They have some applications for the phones for the IELTS preparation. And what I found, that they can be really useful for you, because they have sample answers for the writing. Sometimes they have good phrases for speaking, and some similar tasks for reading. So if you're on the bus, or just on the go somewhere, you can do them. Just practice on the go. It would be really useful. And my last advice, and very important, last but not least, that go on YouTube and watch some really good videos. For example, to prepare for writing, I used the videos of English Ryan podcast, and he has also the website, which is called IELTS.com. And also his videos are really helpful, because Ryan gives the structure for all the types of essays for general and academic exams, and there can be several types of essays, so you can get the full structure, how to structure your essay. So it really helps when you have in mind already the structure, and you can apply it for your essay without spending a long time for thinking how to organize your essay. So his videos are really helpful. And also what I found helpful on YouTube is some video blogs, just by people like me. You can watch my video blog as well. I would be happy if you will. So they are really helpful. They can just also improve your speaking, improve your listening, just because they are all held in reality every day, and there are some new phrases, actual phrases you can pick up from them. And also what I found useful is the channel on YouTube, which is called the Online English Club. They have some tips for speaking, very good tips, and for other parts of IELTS as well. So join them, join Ryan, and join video blogs on YouTube. So it will be really great. So guys, I'm happy to share all my advices, and I hope they are helpful. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your exams. Bye bye.